Yeah, go ahead and here we go.
Okay, great.
Usually introduce this. Oh, I'm sorry. Usually start these off, but guys, we got a special guest today, my friend Eugene, study group. I've been hyping him up for a few weeks, longtime friend of mine, but yeah, I'll just let him get into it. He's going to be running this, calling on you guys and do your thing. So sorry about that, Eugene. I mean to cut you off, buddy.
Oh yeah, no worries. Yep. So go by Northpaw. I've been doing some coaching for BVZ Poker for too many years now, 2 or 3 years, I think. And just have a quick little morning session for blind versus blind, limp first in pots. It's gonna be 40 big blinds deep. Just one of these spots where you probably don't think that much of it, and you're probably losing a lot of EV in what's going on. And it's nice because it helps you carry your understanding of bluffing from the bottom up and how to identify what the worst combos on the given board is, because you have all the combos in the spot. So I think it's really useful um, to develop your fundamentals and then also to not lose little bits of money every single time you get into a limp first in pot. So how this is going to go is I'm going to talk about some of the ranges and some of the high level stuff that I think is important in the spot. And then we're going to use the trainer to do some specific hands. And I'll call on someone to do a hot seat kind of thing where I'm asking you what you want to do with the hand, how it contrasts with like different hands that are kind of similar to it, etc. Um, for this, I took GTO Wizards AI trainer, and I took ranges from Poker Academy because they're solved down as far as possible to make a pretty accurate drill. Let me just talk about the high level stuff that I was mentioning before. Can you guys see the ranges okay?
Good.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, yeah. So I have it switching sides in terms of we're going to be playing small blind and big blind. The things that are important for me in this spot, in the limp first in spot, is that you know where the bottom of your range is. So for small blind, that's offsuit 5x. And also noting that you have up to ace king for your offsuit ace x. And that you even have some weights on queens through tens, although relatively small. And then in contrast, for big blinds range, you don't really have pairs after pocket fours. You have all the way down to offsuit deuce x, even though you ISO some of them. And then importantly for the ace x component, you don't really have better than ace 7 off on the suited side. You don't have better than ace 4 suited, which means that for ace high boards in particular, when you're small blind and you're value betting, ace 8 is functionally the same thing as ace king, except for it's more vulnerable to turn two pairs, etc. But you'll just see it behave a little bit more aggressively than ace king, which doesn't need as much protection. But when we're thinking about value betting the one pair component against big blinds range, because they don't have anything better than ace 7, ace 8 plus is like functionally the same. So I think that's really important. And then I already highlighted the offsuit component, so like the 5x, and then this going to deuce 3, 4x. So what's going to happen is that you're going to bluff a lot from this component, and also on boards where it's something like jack 3 deuce, that might look like a pretty disconnected board, but you'll see a lot of checking on those boards as small blind because they just end up having a lot of pairs. So that's kind of the stuff that's going on that I think is really important for me. And then the other thing is that there are 650 combos in both ranges. So you're gonna have the bluffs. You're not gonna really have to like bluff from you're not gonna have like paired bluffs that often in this spot just because you have so many bad hands that you can pull from. And when you're thinking of folding to one big blind bets from small blind, you're gonna have to defend a lot wider than you actually think as big blind because you just have so much garbage in this spot compared to other spots. Okay, so that is the high level stuff. Okay, any volunteers? Sorry for spoiling this particular first one. Any volunteers for the first hand here?
Oh yeah, Molten Ashes would love to volunteer, or Pucks if they have a mic. They just were itching to volunteer themselves. Maybe the Mountie as well. Man, yeah, let's give Matt Nickel, the Mountie, embarrass his ass. Not embarrassed, but let him go. No mic today?
Probably embarrassed.
Oh,
Yeah, go
Pucks.
ahead.
I
What do you think of this?
I think we don't have showdown value, and we have more good Queen X and 9X than them, and we probably have more like Jack X, 10X with like backdoor straight potential, maybe more backdoor
Sorry,
flushes.
we are big blind in this
Oh, we're
game.
big blind. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. The
Yeah.
button threw me off.
Yeah.
I
It's
was
okay.
oh, okay. And big blinds, yeah, we obviously check here. I don't
Okay,
think we get a
that's
lead.
interesting. What makes you say that?
I feel like our leads are only going to come from like the low disconnected boards like they would in normal pots.
They
Like,
check to you
Yeah, when you
in a
say
small
lead,
blind.
do you mean a dunk?
Yeah,
We
because
oh,
are
they
I'm
still
check
in
sorry.
with
I got
position.
so confused.
your
My
heads
bad.
up
Okay,
here.
we're in the big blind, small blind limped. We checked pre-flop, right?
Yes.
That's right.
Oh, okay. Then I know I do like betting for the reasons I said the first time.
Yeah, great. Also, just as a a broad disclaimer, I am going to make a lot of mistakes. We're all going to make a lot of mistakes. This spot is like fun for the fact that you can be so wrong in a spot that seems really simple. And there's obviously tons of stuff going on in terms of blockers and whatever, and we're just going to be kind of fumbling through it and learning from it together. So like no stress in getting stuff wrong. Yeah, I think I'm definitely with it in terms of uh betting. Like we're very bottom of range. They're not like super capped from checking necessarily. That you're going to check some queens, you're going to check some nines for sure. But we're pretty bottom range, and we have favorable suits. So I'm pretty comfortable betting. You would do bet one, or would you entertain this?
Yeah, I think I would probably bet one with like most of my range here. I'm not really sure what hand I would put into a bigger size. So I think I would just bet one with my whole range.
Okay. I
That
mean, if
my
you were
whole
to do
range that's
it,
going to bet.
yeah, if you were to do it, it would be Queen X.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We're gonna pop this open and just continue here.
I think the 6 is probably better for us. We can maybe get like folds from random
That's
floats
right.
like Jack X, 10X, other backdoor flushes that aren't diamonds. So I would probably just bet half pot again. And also we're still like at the very bottom of our range with no showdown value.
Yeah. So the way that I would think of this is more about, well, I mean, the 6 is obviously it is a card, but it's not a particularly relevant card, right? So when we bet one on flop, we're gonna have Queen X, right? Which is still a value bet. We're gonna have 9X, which is still a value bet. So to so we're just gonna have a lot of credible hands that are gonna keep betting, right? So I think in that context, when we have a diamond that's favorable to us bluffing, we're still never checking for EV with this hand, right? We definitely agree on that. So I think we're pretty incentivized to bet. You want to do half pot?
Yeah, I think I like half pot. I think that's what my value would go.
Okay.
Oh,
So see, this is like a surprising thing, right? So like I think I would have always bet on this turn with a hand like this, which has a diamond. But that's not really what the solver's doing, right? Keep going. And we'll take a look at why that is.
I think it's mostly fold. I kind of want to raise, but we'll fold this time.
Okay. Well, what makes you think of raising sometimes?
I don't know. It just doesn't make sense for them to check a queen on the flop and then not raise on flop or turn with the queen. So I feel like it's hard for them to have a queen, but I know ranges are really wide still, so I guess they could totally have a queen. But I feel like we have more queens than they do as played. So I kind of want to like raise and then make them fold to 9.
Yeah, sure.
I'm
I
also
mean,
really confused as to what they're supposed to be donking.
right. I think it has to do with like the fact that some of their draws filled, and
Yeah,
that they have a lot of density around like having pairs because they're not going to bluff call, right? I do agree that we probably have more queens. Like they took a line where they check flop, they check called flop, they check called turn, so they're going to be somewhat stripped of queen X. At the same time, though, like this is another spot where you're going to have all the combos, and when you want to bluff to 2-bet, you do want to mitigate some of the times that they can like bet like this and call. So it'd be pretty helpful to have like um a 10 or a jack here, for example.
yeah, that makes sense.
I think so. I've just pure fold. Okay, let's look at some of our assumptions. So back here, we didn't really talk about their strategy, but except for mixing some of their queens, right? So definitely you can see that. A lot of mixing with 9s, especially. So let's isolate that. So trips and second pair, right? So trips betting about 60% of the time. And then second pair betting about 40% of the time, right? So you really can't say that this completely stripped. As for us betting, turns out that our combo in particular happens to not be great, but you can see that it's pulling from this region in a generalized manner, right? Just sort of bluffing bottoms up. And then some combos are more favorable, like this 10, where while your combo is not really worth that much, doesn't check for that much EV, it's favorable in that you can have an over to the 9 and then also develop some straight draws on turn. So maybe that's like more favorable than just going strictly from bottoms up on flop.
Is there some kind of blocker effect with the 5? Is that why the 5, 5-4, 5-3, 5-2 weren't betting as much?
When we bet one, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean
Like
for
all
sure,
the-
because again, like their range does start from the 5x, so that's a very good shout. And you can see that they don't really fold that much. With some of these 5x combos being a very
so we
heavyweight.
like blocking a lot of their folds. Is that the issue?
Yeah. Not to mention, like when you do get called, you are very dead.
Yeah.
You're very much having to 2-barrel. I was also curious about this spot, right, where this just doesn't make that much sense as a pure check to me, but certainly we're going to be using these combos on river. I imagine if it goes check and another check on river, might be for some of the same reasons, even though we did fold out already a whole bunch of the 5x on flop. The incremental folds are coming from like this region, so like really quite a bit of density in 5s, right, in 3x. So that's the kind of stuff that's like not super obvious to you when you're like in this screen in game, but when you're looking through the solver, you can really thread it together, and it's very obvious that like you're blocking folds essentially. One last thing that I want to check out was the 8 and the donk. So we ended up going for this like 0% node, right? You can see that it's like 9x for the most part and some bluffs. And the ways in which we 2-bet are, like we were saying, like primarily things that unblock bluffs and then have a jack or a 10. Some paired bluffs when we're going to like the larger size here, right? So another thing that happens sometimes is using whatever the streets card is to bluff, because you block sets, you block 2 pairs that got there. So when you do go this large, you can pull from that region. Ugly hand, but pretty good in terms of stuff that we learned. You can stay on, or if someone else wants to go, we can switch people.
I can do another one.
Sure. Okay, we're small blind now. How do you think about this?
Okay, we limped this time. I think we probably just bet because again, our hand kind of sucks and we have more king and queen X or good king and queen X. So I would
Okay.
just bet one big.
Okay. So I don't think we have a problem betting like queen X here, as opposed to like other spots where we might have to go more polar and like have a big size only and like only bet our king X. But I don't know that translates to us betting this. To me, having a 7 and like no backdoor flush draw and being really dead when we get called is really unfavorable to us betting. I don't think this is a board where we can like bet range or anything. In fact, bet range is kind of hard in this spot, and usually it's going to be ace high boards or like paired boards that have an ace on them or something like that. So I'm inclined to check more, but I don't like this is worth nothing, so I don't think it's like horrible to bet one other. You want to do this?
Yeah, I would do this.
Do you want to keep it or do you want to check so we don't take a 0% line?
We could check, but yeah, check is fine.
Okay, and how do you think of it now?
I guess if we checked flop, like we probably have to check turn. I don't think it's like that believable that we would have checked that much queen X on the flop. So I feel like this is like almost a blank,
Okay.
but I also feel like they don't have a king or probably a queen either. And our hand still sucks.
So do you think that you can only value bet a queen here?
No, I would value bet a king, maybe a like under pair to the queen, maybe a 2, or definitely draws as well.
Okay. Like I think we have no problem having value here. Like we're not pure betting all our queen X, we're not pure betting all our kings on flop. And although they're gonna check back some of their queens for sure, like maybe like 60-70% of the time, and they're gonna check back some of our kings, I don't think that translates to us like not having a bet. The only thing for this is whether I want to use this or use like a variation of this that's like 9-8 with like a heart, I think would be way more favorable. But I think this block of like absolute nothing can go into this potentially. And it's favorable because we can bet it also. But then if you're contrasting that to like 9-8, 9 of hearts, that can also bet river on a heart river, right? So I think I'm still mostly checking just because of like the 7 is really ugly and we have better ways to do this, and we have like a medium value bets. I wouldn't say like we are betting like 70% of the time or anything like that here. So I think I'm good with check.
In game, I would probably go like at least pot, maybe bigger. Cause like they just don't, I don't think they have. Well, it's really hard for them to have a queen, and then I don't think they have a king. Maybe they checked all the way through with a 2.
Mhm.
I feel like they have a lot of ace high, 2x, maybe small like pocket 3s through 6s or something.
Yeah,
I
they
don't.
only have up to 4s, but yeah, I get what you're saying. I think they just have a lot of high cards. Basically.
Yeah, I think they have a lot of high cards and a lot of stuff that will fold to sizable bet. Yeah, I would go bigger than pot though in real life. I'd probably go like, I don't know. I always go really big in these spots, which is probably bad.
Well, I wouldn't say that. It depends on like how you're constructing the previous streets. If you like retain a lot of king X, then that'd be fine. You can even value bet ace X here, right? To bet one or potentially even the larger size, because a lot of this range is now just like dust, right? Like yes, they have ace highs, but basically they have a lot of high cards that are just like Jack 10 high, right? And it's just going to come down to whether ace highs make more money doing one of these, but certainly you can value bet those. So I wouldn't say that like you overbetting a lot with like the King X here is like horrible. But I would say always betting is pretty good. We're pretty bottomish. Seems kind of good to just bet at this point. Yeah, what do you want to do?
I mean, I want to bet like 7 bigs, but I guess I'll bet the 2.3.
Okay. Okay, so I mean, not too much action, but again, like it's somewhat interesting, right? Okay, so not too much betting, really an uncapped range when we check. For them, we were talking a little bit about how many queens and kings they should bet. So here's top pair, here's second pair. Still like a good like 60% check, right? So let's see like 50% and then like checking 65%. So it's not like they're like super stripped in terms of what happens on flop. And then on turn, we were talking a little bit about how you want to construct this. You want to be like really bottom range. So here's some of these, and even then you're like avoiding diamond club, right? For the most part, you're able to completely fade having the worst variations of it. For the suited component, like you just don't want to be getting in that much money with completely dead combos when you can avoid it. And here it's not as though you have so many value bets. Like this is when we're betting quite a bit with our top pair and second pair, and we're still not able to fill out these combos because we just don't have that many value bets. And then I guess river. So here's all these ugly combos that we're doing it. And again, I guess, so like, I think it was totally fine for us to do this, right? Because as humans, we're kind of just looking at it and going like, okay, this is pretty bottom-ish, it's pretty close. Turns out that we have exactly the amount of value bets with ace highs being valued to 77 to be able to fill out like this block. And then we're really challenged when we get to like 8 or 9 high hands. But it was close, right? So
What does he call us with that's worse than ace high here? Like that we can value bet it.
like tons of high cards. Like I mean, like in the actual drill, they call Jack 5, right? But you're really indifferent with like 10 highs here. Because your entire range is just dust at this point.
But if they're never calling like Jack or 10 high in my games, I can't really value bet the ace high, right?
Well, you can, because they don't have anything. So there's no consequence. It just means you can overbluff.
Okay, so then I'm just bluffing with it if they're not gonna hero with the
Yep.
high cards. Okay.
Yep. Because then you can like fill out this entire block without a consequence, right? It gets kind of murky when you get to like Jack highs for sure. Because you're sort of like getting them off chops, but if they truly never call you with high cards here, then they just always lose, right? Like the strategy doesn't make more money because you overfold. Because you have nothing all the time. Basically.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, who's up for this one? I guess I shouldn't show you the flop before.
Give Molten a chance, right? I think Molten was calling.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Hey,
Hello. So yeah, I'm always calling ace high here. When nowhere near bottom of range.
yeah, what do you think we actually fold here?
Like I think we might start folding like I think we still call like 9 highs here. We call quite wide. I think we start folding maybe like 8 high, and then like obviously worse than 8 high. Like,
Yeah,
but
can you give
wait,
me
actually
can
no,
you
we
give
have
me
straights
both
though. We have
cards?
straight. Okay.
Yeah.
Now thinking about this now because like we have 5 deuce, that's a straight draw. So maybe we fold a little bit higher. So maybe we start folding like stuff like 9-4, 9-5,
Yep.
that range, and then we might start calling like the 10 highs, like 10 4 and above. I think having like a deuce is really bad because we have the deuce is under the 3, so well, if we pair a deuce, it's still fourth pair. So I think our calling range starts from like 10-4 and above, and then a straight draw, and then of course the gutter balls still call.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think sort of the way that you want to, that's the right approach. So like you basically want to fold from hands that have an under to the bottom card here. So that's going to be deuce X. Obviously, some of the ones like 4 deuce, 5 deuce, like you were mentioning, that are gut shots are going to be ahead of high card combos. But essentially, between like folding clubs and folding combos, I think 10-4 is probably out, in my opinion.
Okay.
But between like clubs and like hands that have like that kind of disconnect where it's like the deuce X block with like a 8-7 or 8-9-10 are basically what are going to come out. As soon as you get to like 3 to a straight, I think like 8-7 off is like better as a defend than like 10-4 off here, for example, right? Because you can develop more straight draws potentially on the turn, and you have 6 out to a 6 and the 3, as opposed to having the 3 outs with 10-4, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think those are going to come ahead, but I think you're definitely in the right ballpark. Let's check our work. So yeah, here's like the combos that we're talking about. Really heavy weight on like deuce X, even with like king and queen high kickers, right? Coming out.
Right.
Clubs like I was talking about. This one's kind of surprising. I think I would have called with this one, but you know, you can't be perfect. You're just trying to get the strategy mostly right, right? So yeah, really glad to see that when you see ace 4 suited, you're like snap call. And then yeah, I think you had the right thought process with the rest, so that's great.
I think we can just, that's not the size I expected. I think we could just go to streets for value, like 150% pot, and then like barrel big on river, because ranges are so wide that pair of aces is really good.
Great, yeah. I also think, you know, it's quite a capping check on this ace. I think a lot of the ace X are going to be able to bet 1 on flop to value bet. I think when they check, it's pretty capping. Like there's really no reason for them to slow down with their ace X block. So I really like this. Solver doesn't agree. Oh yeah, so another benefit of like doing this through like GTO Wizard AI is that it like will show you different sizes in general, right? So you kind of passively pick up what it wants to do in different situations, like what makes the most money if you only give it like 2 sizing options, which is definitely helpful. Okay, so looks like we're pretty much in the right ballpark, right? So like we're just not being like that astute about contrasting ace 4. Having a club, obviously having clubs helps you because it pushes your opponent's range a little bit more towards having draws and things that are making your ace 4 more of a value bet. But we're like right there in terms of a7, a6 being like very good for overbetting here. Yeah, so someone saying that I would naturally think overbet. Yeah, it's just because of how capping this check is, right? So if you look at this small blind strategy, you should be like essentially always betting your ace X, because this part of the deck is asymmetric for you. So when you check, you really don't have ace X, which is allowing you to bet huge.
I'm sorry, was he supposed to be limp leading his ace X there, the small blind on the flop?
Yep, because you are floating extremely wide, right? So before when we were looking at the fold, we did focus a little bit too much on fold, I guess. But the consequence of only folding like these absolutely terrible combos is that you're getting floated all the time if they're playing properly with 9 high hands, with 10 high hands, with really favorable versions of 8 high hands, right? So that makes the entire ace-x block value bets, which is strange in other situations. Okay, pretty good with that. Again, like some like straight draw stuff here, but also just sort of like very bottom of range, favorable suits kind of thing happening here, right? So like that's a gut shot, and it's not really because of the gut shot necessarily. Like we are just kind of pumping it with awful combos to go along with our very good value bets. Are you good with keeping this?
Yeah, I'm good with keeping this. Good with keeping this. Okay, so my first instinct was to shove, but I'm a little scared that's a bit too thin. Still think small blind that just bets a lot of ace-x on the turn. So, and if we shove, he still has to call like some jack-x. So I'll go shove here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's 15.
Yeah, I think it might mix between these two, but I certainly think this is viable. You know, like we did see that they're only checking 10% of their ace-x on turn, right? And
Yes.
I'm not convinced that it's going to be like a purely calling strategy. Probably is though, just because they remove so much ace-x. So even with that, I'm still comfortable with just overbetting here for the most part. Solver doesn't like
All right,
it.
it's just 15.
So looking like 2-pair is what you need for this. So I mean, based on this, I think we can infer that this is going to be like a call heavy strategy. Yeah. So with the ace-x that they have, they're just always calling. If we were to like node lock this and have them like 2-bet with ace king, ace jack, etc., right? Then
Right.
you are going to be able to just dump it on the river. I do think that bet 50 is too small. Like we're just ahead of almost everything here, right? So if we're like looking at this and we're contrasting ranges, there's just not that much top pair, right? So when you're looking at when you're trying to figure out like how big you can bet, and you're looking at an overbet of 150%, you just have to be ahead of half of the range that calls, right? And when like the top pair plus 2-pair component is only 12 or 25% of the range, or what is this like 24.7, then you only have to be ahead of approximately 12.3, 12.4, right? Of the range for your overbet to actually still be a value bet, right? So that's kind of what you're thinking about. And obviously you can't do that in game, but like looking at the solvers, looking at the composition, and like trying to get an intuitive sense of that really helps for figuring out
I think I
spots where you
underestimated.
can overbet.
I underestimated how much 2-pairs they still have. I
Yeah.
thought it'd be much lower than that.
You might be able to argue that like players in game aren't going to be as good at check calling a lot of these combos. So there's that too. Okay. Yeah, moving on. I'm just gonna keep that, whatever. Okay, only have 7 minutes, so possibly this is gonna be the last one.
I would just bet. I would bet 1 here because there's a lot of hands that I would bet 1 here. That's kind of bad. So
Okay, so are you betting like the entire Queen X block?
yes. Well, in game, yes, and so I'm sure check some of them, but I
Yeah,
don't
how are
think.
you organizing that?
Well, so it depends on population. Well, it depends on villain, I should say.
Let's talk about
Against
solver world right now.
Okay, in Solver World, okay, how would I organize Queen X? This would actually probably be one of the first Queen X I would check back because we don't have spades. Our 7 isn't a great kicker. Um, so and seems like a good hand to just check and like call down if BB decides to just blast turn and blast river. And we can start value betting stronger Queen X or Queen X with a spade.
Yeah, great. I just want to be a little bit more precise, I guess. So if we're like, I think when you're value betting top pair, it's going to be linear, right? So you want to bet king queen more than you want to bet queen jack, etc. Obviously, it's going to be nice to have a spade, and you identify this one as one that you're going to check a lot, but maybe a couple more reasons why that should be the case. This is like one of our worst queen X, right? Because queen 3 has a backdoor gut shot. Queen 4, the same thing. Queen 5, right?
Right.
Obviously, queen deuce and 6 are 2 pairs. So we're really at the bottom of our queen X range, right? In terms of
Right.
having things that go well for it backdoors. We also have a high card club, which is going to be worse than having high card heart or spade, obviously. And then the only last thing that I would say is like, if we have this hand, but like club diamond, I would check that ahead of this. Having the backdoor flush draw blocker is a little bit better.
Okay.
But I think that's fine because we're just gonna, for the same reason that like we might build a bigger check on or a more frequent check on like jack 3 deuce when we have air. It's gonna be nice that there's a deuce on board and you just get to like never get a fold from a deuce, right? So I think it's gonna be totally viable to mix here. You want to bet though, so hilarious when it's like, yep, that's the answer. You just want to like exactly mix. Let me check my answer for that, right? So when we're comparing queens, like roughly linear fashion for the offsuit block, at least like ace queen betting arguably the most. And then when we're looking at the queens that want to check, it doesn't quite work in the way that I thought with these being favorable, but it is a bottomish queen. You do see that there's like some differences in terms of like having a spade or a heart. When it gets to like the more marginal ones, let's see if I can pull one. I wouldn't say there's a big difference between these. Having high card, diamond or club and a heart and the low card heart actually seems to be bad in this case. But it is like linearly shaped. Yeah, that wasn't the clearest example. I guess with this also, like these ones, there's going to be like some value and trash blocking, so that's going to be a little bit mixed up.
Okay.
What do you want to do here?
So for the same reason why I think checking is like viable on the flop, I actually like checking here on the turn. Having Big Lee can easily float with king highs. I think BB has a big portion of king highs here that now pair to king. And just having like a showdown hand where we can just call any river bet, it's really nice. So I'll probably majority check here.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. I think we're definitely more towards the middle with our queens. With this being a lower one, and I do think they cover king X. I don't think it's like totally unviable to bet, but just in terms of maintaining a balanced range, I think you do want to mix in some checks with your queen X in this one. Seems good to me.
I still facing a check. I think BB is very unlikely to have king X. I mean, I think he still checks a little bit, but not that much. So I think we should just have a clear value bet of 76%.
Yeah. Why do you think betting ourselves is better than checking? I
Oh,
agree
well,
with
because
you. I'm just
because BB has still has a lot of 6x, some deuce X. BB can flop with like some 5x even, like 7-5 of like 7-5 with a spade that has to call river. So yeah, BB just has a lot of worse pairs.
Yep. So
That-
there's a lot of worse pairs in ace highs that are going to call you against this bet that don't bet themselves, right? The other thing
Right.
is that this hand isn't actually strong enough for us to check raise. So even if
Oh, okay.
even though like it's an unlikely draw, a draw that would have like bet a lot on turn, except for like the ugliest combo. So like diamond or club variations of this gut shot. Mostly with bet on turn, it's a small part of the range, but I think when you're looking at a middling queen and knowing that they have some checkbacks with pretty strong queens on the turn, you're not really going to be able to get a check raise in. And I think that's another piece of like why bet's going to be so much better, in my opinion. We haven't seen it yet. So there's like queen jack, right? For example.
Right.
Thank you, Solver, for agreeing with me there, proving me right. So just to show you like some of the combos that are going to be checking that are great, it's going to be like in this like two pair or unblocking bluffs kind of category. Oh, that's top pair also. So like presumably these can either check raise or just really favor them reopening in some way. Whereas, so like ace queen strong enough to check raise. So let's see that. So here's like a common bet size, bet 76. Oh, it's calling. These combos can check. Oh, these are two pairs, right? So a mix of things going on. I guess this also unblocks checkbacks because you have an ace, right? So
Yeah.
Okay, that's my time for today. Hopefully that was useful. I think these guys are gonna keep going. Not sure. Toe.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we'll go for a little bit longer, but man, Eugene, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you coming in here, doing the BVB stuff. It's a spot we all struggle with, and I think you pointed out some things that are certainly helpful that we were missing, myself included.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, good to study with you all. Okay,
Yeah, I
I'm gonna hop
appreciate you,
off.
brother.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see you around.
we'll be in touch, buddy. Thank you. Take care.
Yep.
All right.
Bye now.
Bye.
Later,
Awesome,
dude.
man. Yeah, Eugene, very, very good player. As you could see, he looks at the game at a very deep level. He's been a study partner of myself and Toe for years, man. He's a friend of Affleck as well. So yeah, he's cool as shit. And I'm gonna try to do more stuff like that moving forward, where we have Affleck come in and do something like that. I have Eugene and I have all these resources. So like moving forward, I'm gonna try to utilize that stuff a little bit more and spice things up. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. It's a little bit different than my two-headed approach where we're just shotgunning stuff. He goes deep into the trenches at identifying what portions of your range are you linear in this spot, or are you going to be polar, or what is the bottom of our range doing, and like really focusing on that stuff on a hand-by-hand basis and thinking about what ranges are involved is very important. We can speed run some of the other stuff, but like looking at it deeply, like what is the bottom of my range doing here, and what am I doing on future streets with the bottom and whatnot is very good to think about. Sweet. I don't have a whole lot of time, so I was thinking maybe we do a few like we do every week, try to keep our ICM game pretty sharp for like 20, 30 minutes to end the week. I think it'll be good. So let me get that set up on the side so we stay sharp there. And then we'll call it. My kids are on spring break, so I have to keep them occupied. And there's all kind of basketball stuff going on, yada, yada, yada. So pretty busy on my end. Let's go here. There's a little bit of popping from the mic, but nothing major from my mic. Oh shit.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, is this any better?
Probably. I would have to. Yeah,
Is
it
this-
would. No, yeah, I don't think I can hear anything. I couldn't tell that like the first time. It was very, very like faint.
Yeah, my kids were touching this mic, man. I don't know if they griefed something.
Probably one of the in one of the settings. I don't know. I forgot that.
Is this? There's a lot of gain. Let's see. How is this? Any better or worse?
Yeah, better. I could hear you like a lot more. Maybe like tone down the gain just a little bit.
Is this better, better, worse?
Yeah, that's pretty clear right there.
All right. Damn, I forgot my kid was touching this mic, man. So whatever, it's fine. All right, there we go. Let me share screen real quick. Thanks for letting me know, Skate. Appreciate it.
Yep, you got it.
Cool, we are recording an album. It's cool. Right. All right. Trainer, you guys see screen and everything okay? You are sharing, yes. All right, so you guys know the drill. We'll try to run through some of these spots real quick. Money bubble time. We'll look at money bubble. For a few, they will go straight to in the money. I'm going to go asymmetric. Now let's look at symmetrically. Cool. I think that's good. Skate or die. Little bro, what are we doing?
Yep.
Give me a 5-piece nugget real quick.
All right. Well, this is definitely a fold against the low jack open at this stack depth or any depth.
But give me
Well,
your bottoms just quickly
okay.
as you can.
Yeah.
H jack O plus king. You know the drill at this point.
Yep. Wait. All right. Wait, guys. Well,
Thanks for hanging out, Matt. I'll catch you, brother. Thanks for hanging out. Good luck.
yeah. Ace Jack O plus. I'm not doing the king queen off here at the ICM.
Fair.
Let's go with
Beep beep.
nines, maybe nines plus nines
Okay,
or
beep.
nines plus. And then also for the suited ace 10 plus maybe.
Okay.
Did I miss anything? No.
Yeah, you missed the suited kings.
Oh, that's suited-
Suited queens, jacks, if you're using any of those.
I don't know. Am I supposed to be using any of those?
No, if you're not, you're not.
No,
I'm not forcing you.
Then no, that's not. Look at that. Oh,
Oh my
Okay.
God.
I need a jack.
Giga griefed by everybody.
Yep.
We're just silly. Stone money bubble with a 10 big rate. Like,
Gotta be.
ain't no. Oh, the raising rates is aces and then mixing. They're jamming everything else, but raising this.
Yeah, it has to do with their opening.
Yeah. You want an ace-X blocker or kings or something. Outside of that, you're probably dead. Because it's
Okay.
aces is the min raise. This is where you're sitting here with pocket nines and tens, knowing you're doing something bad, but you can't help yourself. We've all done it.
Yeah, that makes
But this
sense.
is only versus theory. But I will say, man, in real life, someone who's opening from under the gun +1 off of 9 big blinds on the money bubble, who has tight stats, you're allowed to just you're allowed to
Yeah.
make a read. I'm just
Yeah,
saying, man.
that's court awareness. If I was in game, I would probably look at it just a little bit different, right?
Yeah, you have money on the line. You've been playing with this guy. You see it, right?
Yeah.
Killer's in this spot on the money bubble. What are we doing?
Still on me?
Hell yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean this is I mean I can't 3-bet, so it's gonna be jam. Always.
Always jam.
Always.
I'm not gonna ask you your whole your defense range as a whole. I think it would take too long. Are you slow playing aces?
I think it's viable. Yes.
Aces slow play.
Yeah. Aces mix.
Kings no.
No, I don't think I'm mixing the kings. Solver probably likes it, but I don't.
What are you doing with ace 10, ace 9 offsuit right now versus this? Ace 9. Oh. What are you doing? Be honest.
I fold.
That's honesty. That's all I wanted. And just snap honest, right? I'm never full. I'm probably GG, but I'm GG'd 100% of the time. But he's ripping this.
Hey, with
Yeah,
ace,
probably
yeah, we have
GG
the ace high.
myself. You can't fold.
You gotta
I'm
call,
actually
huh?
surprised this isn't jamming. That's good to see. It's not losing a bunch of BB.
Because we're in for one big line already. Yeah, we gotta see a flop. This is not like he's
Look at
like
the
jamming or
suited
something.
kings and aces. I mean, you're actually not. I mean, it's profitable to jam. Let's not.
Yeah, I mean
It's
ace nine.
not
Yeah,
losing money. This other shit would be. I mean, it's profit because they have to call so tight, but it's just marginal and bad.
so you can fold like the
Look
offsuit.
at aces. Here's your slow play. You got it.
Yeah.
These ranges are tough, man. This is always a good range to study. It's definitely different. I'm probably
Yep.
over aggressing in this region a little bit, looking at myself.
All right. Out of position. I think yeah, and I think here we probably do start folding. Yeah, out of position. I think we can fold.
Okay, nice. What
yeah.
about ace 10, ace jack? You playing those? King, queen off. Those 3 hands.
That's a hard question right there.
Be honest.
I don't even know, man. Against middle position.
On the
King, queen
money
off.
bubble.
I think no. We throw away king queen off. Throw away ace
Ace
jack.
10.
I think it has to be ace queen plus.
Just
Off.
folding all those hands. Fold ace 10, play ace jack, ace
I
queen.
know I'm too tight.
Cool. Molten, what are you doing?
With this hand or with? I mean, I'm folding this
Range.
hand.
What range are you V pipping? And do you flat
So-
anything?
Yes, I do have flats here. What do I? Yeah, I have flats here. We have small.
On the money bubble
So
to EP. Okay.
am I not allowed? Am I not allowed to?
I'm not saying you're not.
It feels.
I'm just
It
throwing
feels
that in your
so.
head.
It feels so awkward. Now thinking about it, maybe I don't. Because my first instinct was to just jam, like was to flat ace jack, but now thinking about it, jamming is probably better than flattening ace jack off. And then now we have like king queen, which is like so marginal. Like king queen off feels not great as a jam, but it feels too good to fold. But well, money bubble. And
Yeah,
okay,
it's a
so
tough spot, right? Yeah, you start thinking about all the conditions. It's like, ooh, is flighting even feel that great?
okay,
Are people
so
going
we
to have
have
more condensed ranges in money bubble status here? Yeah, it's symmetrical. But what if it's asymmetrical and this 15 is opening into a 6, a 4, a 9? Like, are we thinking about those kind of things? Do we
yeah,
look at
you're
his
right.
HUD as well? In combination, he's at 12, 9, 6. And
Okay,
he's
just
opening into a bunch of rejam stacks.
yeah. Okay.
Do we
Okay, then we
start? We
toss.
need to really, we honestly, if we
Yeah.
have that, we have to start looking at that stuff. You know. But
But
I'm
like
just
in
saying,
general,
yes,
I
in
want to switch
general.
my mind. I'm gonna change it to so that we don't have flats, and so we just jam like ace jack off,
Yes.
and then like ace
Ooh.
10 suited.
Yeah, this is a good spot. I mean, maybe we do have some hands that just doesn't want to broke with versus this range, and the EV is going to be close, or maybe it just wants to jam a very strong linear range. Like, what are we doing with eights, nines, tens? Right? Is it always just going to jam versus the EP with 15? Doesn't feel great, but
No,
Yeah, I
it does
think so.
not.
everything, no flats,
uh,
is beautiful. Look at nines,
Nines
mixing
can start
folds.
folding.
Eights are mixing fold. Sevens are mixing fold. There's a little bit of fold in all these, right? Up to nines,
Right.
eights, nines, and tens versus nits. In that situation I discussed earlier, where the guy has 13, 14 bigs, it's all rejam stacks, and he's the net. You might have to fold in a tournament you care about winning. If it's some piss low and you just ego playing it to try to get a stack, I get it.
So king queen off is a jam blocking kings and queens.
Yeah, it's always in there.
Mhm.
Yep, all this. Yep.
Okay.
Suited aces are loving these spots. Middling pair are like it's all profitable, right? Depending contingent upon how much fold equity you're going to have against your opponent. And their opening range. This has this guy opening still a tight ass range. Not even opening nines. You're folding nines up here up front. Have you ever folded nines first in with 15 bigs?
No.
I mean, 0 EV open. Eights are losing.
I should probably start doing it.
Look at
Seeing
Jack 10
this.
suited first in. If I fold this on stream first in, it's unsub, unfollow territory, I'm sure. So look at this.
I'd rather fold a queen 10 than jack 10.
And we
but-
still get the jam this wide, even with that tight range. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess with the auto suited.
But yeah, just take into consideration the conditions of the table will end that behind. We were
Okay.
talking about BBB earlier. Go ahead, Skate, finish this one up. Then we'll give someone else a chance.
All right. So this ICM.
Yep.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. Let's go ahead and fuck. Let's. Maybe, let's raise. Let's raise.
Raise, not all in.
Maybe it's not a raise. There's a big ICM. Yeah. Let's raise. Not all in.
Important thing to note here.
That's wrong.
I
Right?
wanted to show you guys something very important. Pucks, you failed the test. Instantly failed. You failed. You failed. Escape. You failed. You failed the test. The fucking
we can't fold.
fold button is not even lit up.
Not even there.
Damn, the fold button is
Wow.
grayed out. You're not allowed to fold.
Let's
How
jam.
does that make you feel?
That makes me feel like
Board
jamming.
awareness is yeah, guys, you can't fold the hand in these spots. When you see me jam on stream and close my eyes and it feels really bad, this is why. You can't fold. Skate, you want to raise not all in, right?
No, we gotta jam because yeah.
No, we gotta jam.
Oh, seriously, because raise. What is
Yep.
raise gonna accomplish? Yeah, we gotta jam. There we go.
If you had a leak, if you had this leak before, the good news is you're going to go into the tonight's session playing better. We have already corrected a few leaks in today's session. No folding.
7 deuce.
You still got 5 off and you're symmetrically even with the guy. Just imagine if you have him covered and we're like this. Fucking any 2. 100%. You can't be walking somebody on a money bubble when you have them covered. What do you think this is? Nope. So, yep. No, you're not even slow playing aces, which I think was,
Hmm.
hold up, Skate. luckily it's not on you anymore, but thank you for the work, my friend. Good job.
Thank you. That was fun and challenging.
Yeah, you didn't have the best spots.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Anyone want to step up, nominate someone who hasn't done anything yet? Been in there. Let me see. It's all cheat to win.
I knew it was coming.
Hell yeah.
Three,
Versus all in.
2, 3, 5, 6,
go
7, 8. On the bubble?
Yep.
Running.
This actually feels really bad. It's like, oh
You're
my
you're gonna
goodness.
hate this, but I'm way too nitty. Do I run this one? I'm gonna fold it.
He gone.
She
He
gone.
gone. So
I think so.
what's so give me the bottom of the call ranges. You know the drill. What's the bottom? What's the worst thing you call here?
Unsuited. Okay, ace, king off.
Ace queens out of there. Okay,
Yeah.
ace king off.
Ace, queens. Okay, so we'll do offsuit eight or offsuits. No offsuits like king, queen.
That's fine. Ace king off.
Out. Pairs will be queens. I'm gonna say jacks, but I'm maybe queens. Queens. Suited. Do I call not even king queen suited and then ace queen suited? Yeah, I'm super tight here. Ace queen.
My friend, this is not the WSOP main event money bubble. This is, sir, this is a $5 tournament. No, I'm kidding.
It's the crazy eights.
Sir, this is the crazy eights.
I'm too tight.
No,
Minute.
not at all. Not at all.
Cabinet.
No, I mean, I think having a general calling range in these money bubbles that is pretty tight certainly makes some sense, right? Especially I'm asking you the question under these conditions, right? Under theoretical conditions. So
Right.
theoretically, you're certainly going to be pretty tight. Maybe ace queen is 0 EV. Maybe jacks is close as hell in some tournament types, some 1K, some 10, where you think the money really matters in making that decision is going to be financially better for you to fold, right?
Right. So ace king, queens, and ace queen suited.
Yeah, I mean, let's check it out. But I do think I do want you to be aware, like, there should maybe be a cutoff where you expand your range, man, and not always be so stiff and rigid with it. If I'm playing the crazy eights, it's definitely gonna be I'm gonna move it down 2 pips. I'd be calling this ace jack versus some opponents, even in this spot, right? And then I would just never fold jacks or tens, even for the min payout, because I think people are just much wider. Ranges are much worse.
And you're not gonna get a better hand anytime soon, right? Probably before you.
I mean, the turbo structure, it doesn't impact my bankroll at all to min cash or not, right? So, but yeah, ace queens, look, here's the ace queens looking at 0, and then 10's kind of like we say, right?
Yeah. So I had
Like,
much everything except for the pairs. I was way too tight on the pairs.
yeah, like I do think like, yeah, you can't be folding. We can't go around just folding jacks like it's nothing. Yeah, I think this range I would just never fold this stuff and
No,
most of the little stuff. And if you get to money really matters, bigger tournaments, it sounds stupid to say, we should be not thinking like that, but it does make a difference, man.
yeah, that makes sense. It looks scary because EP is jamming, but he could be jamming ace queen, ace high, and we have to call with those kind of pairs.
Ace king, oh,
Yeah, and king.
look, he's
Yeah.
jamming. Nobody you know or has ever met is mixing these enough and has this kind of range. So yeah. And I would venture to guess this range, if you had made it for a population, is going to be a lot of ace king, jacks, tens, and some ace queens in there as well. More so than this. Never these, and mix it to ace queens and jacks and tens.
Yep.
For the common pleb. Well, cheat to win back in there.
Oh,
Call?
yeah.
What's the worst offsuit ace?
9.
Ace
Ace nine.
nine.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go through the portions of the range and ask so you guys start
Okay.
visualize
Ace,
the
ace
offsuit
9
paint.
off.
Offsuit
King,
paint.
king jack,
Pair.
king jack off will be my lowest. The
Yep.
pairs will be 7s.
Okay, paint.
Mm,
Jacks, tens, or nines, tens, jacks, suited
uh,
nines.
king, king 10 suited.
Okay.
I wouldn't, I'd fold queen jack suited, so king 10 suited, and then
Woo.
suited aces. Do I call every suited ace here? No. I might drop out some of the, like I do some of the wheels and then maybe ace 9 suited.
Ace nine suited. Okay. Feels tight as hell. All right, Molten. Thanks for hanging out, brother. Have a good day, and I'll catch you around. Whoa!
Oh, yep, nice.
So ace 10.
I'm not gonna lie, you actually damn near home.
So I
like,
said
grand
sevens,
slam.
sevens, ace 9 off.
Yeah, you were a pit, dude. You actually were the closest range of everybody.
Yep.
You were a pip to lose. The rest of everybody else was losing their damn minds, calling way too loose.
You know what I notice about my game is like I do play tight. And I notice like I cash a lot. Like my cash rate is really high.
Mhm.
But I never get far. Like I lose a lot of because I'm so tight. I lose some EV in spots, right? So I don't always have. It's like I'm always there. I'm always there, and I need a hand
Well,
to get me there.
yeah, but to get you there, you're not three bet jamming enough. You're
Right.
not opening wide enough, and you're not three bet jamming
Yeah.
enough. If because you can get deep pretty easy. I'm there. Like I can get deep a lot, and I have the gift of being able to win as well when I get deep because I
Right.
understand that.
Yeah, and
Those
I'm just
spots to
missing that
take.
part.
Not
I'm
missing
learning
that
though.
other shit.
Like
Nope.
all these classes and all this studying has helped me tremendously though. Like if I wouldn't study, all you're doing
Yeah.
is just clicking buttons.
Yeah, I mean, even if you get it in once a week when you can get in, I haven't been able to study much myself, the past few weeks, but when I can, it helps, man. Believe it or not, you've put in more work than so many of your opponents, even
Right.
by just virtue of being here and being passionate about the game. You guys already have an edge. Seeing this a few times every week for a year, you're fine, right? So, yeah, just a pip here. Let's do maybe 2 more hands, and then I gotta get ready to get the son to basketball practice. Oh, I should have looked at his jam range. How is it so tight versus an any 2 jam range we saw? But yeah, that wasn't. We're 15 big blinds effective there. No, that was 10. No, that was 10. Still got to be tight as shit versus the jam range, man. That's why it sucks. On the money bubble, we just don't get an opportunity to call off super wide. Risk premium is super high in this spot. And this is the spot where people are talking shit about a min cash don't impress me much. This is you go from 0 ROI to making some ROI. And with 10 big blinds in a lot of these fields, and especially so many people make mistakes and it goes so fast that you go to just printing some ROI. So it's very important. Who was it on? Cheat. This is a fun one. Under the gun jams, and you're practically an MP here.
Yeah, I
And
know. This is the
so-
one that's scary.
Yep.
But yeah, just call it and hope. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I might fold this depending upon the player. But I'd say 50-50 I do here, depending upon what's going on.
Holy shit.
I know
Puck,
you hate
ever
it.
folding this? We'll go back and look at that BP as well. So I can clarify it for you since you don't ask a lot of questions. I got you, brother. We'll look at that after this.
I think it's a fold.
Skates folding. Pucks you folding? B money you folding?
Maybe. Yeah.
I feel
probably.
like this is a fold.
Oof.
Could it be a mix though here? Is that what it is? Or is it just pure one or the other?
You have your ace queen have so much of this dominated and only losing to that. Isn't this crazy? Like you see the rest of this, and it feels like you're dominating this region, and only one you're dominated against is this. Is there that much risk premium where you can't call ace queen? No, this is their, and with the players behind it, you can't even call a hand this strong. Dead.
Yeah.
Look,
So
I
it's
mean,
less.
you're not.
Yeah.
That's why we have to fold so tight. In
Yep.
the BB there. Even you can be shoving everything. You still can't really. This is why the high stakes guys can get away with murder, because their opponents know they can't call wide. You might get called here much wider than this, but yeah, this is jacks are mixing fold.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yep, yep.
it's tough, man. And we just saw his jamming range, which is few hands that you even crush. Ooh.
Just call it.
This is the range that doesn't get to do anything but jam. I mean, it doesn't get to fold.
Okay.
Calling or jamming? You're just calling this one?
I would have
In
called.
real life, I
called.
think I fold. Never folding this. I would never fold the suited king. This suited king.
Getting
Nah, yeah, I mean, nah. Even in this spot, I don't think
getting too good of a price.
It's only aces. Yeah, true. And then they still make me pay. I mean, it doesn't let you fold, but only jamming the ace because they only have ace. Last hand. Do we get to call in later position jam to this? And if we don't get to call this, does ace queen creep in? Now, can we finally call ace queen?
I think ace queen for sure.
Now we get to call ace queen. This is a fold for you, though.
Yeesh. You know what? Depending upon the player, though, I might call this one.
I think when you
Okay.
say that, it's a fold.
I think this is the bottom of the range, but ace queen.
Fold. I think, yeah, I think this one's still a fold from what we saw. And I'm
Yeah.
just wondering if eights is the bottom. Like, do we get to call eight chat? I would be like spinning, trying to feel like if eight, but there it is as well, guys. If you're even considering something that is the bottom of your range, do we even need to take the bottom of our range in that neck, like philosophically?
No.
Is it its spot, or we need to take the bottom if it is the bottom? Are we missing out? Is the bottom so much EV that we need to pass up or take, you know? So that's a question I've been trying to get better at asking myself. I don't want to fold anything at the middle of the top of my range, but when it does get down to the bottom of my range, is the bottom of my range even profitable enough to be taken in that spot? So yeah, if this ace jack is your bottom, is it printing so much, you know? Or am I really wrong and we need to call ace 10 here?
That's a
So
good
those are kind of things I'm trying to think about, if that makes a lot of sense, you know. Because I don't think we know ace 9 is not calling, right?
correct.
So that would mean either ace 10 is your bottom, which is 0 and printing practically nothing, and we're taking pretty high risk spot, or if ace jack is your most profitable one. I think it's most likely the ace 10 is always folded, and the ace jack could be the bottom and 0, and then ace queen's in there. Right? And then this is like break even or not worth nothing. And that's how I start to think about the spots. Like we think about the eights. Is the eighth in there? It's probably the bottom. Do I need to call the bottom? No. So it's probably 9.
Got it.
Yeah. I would be like maybe making this mistake of calling some ace jack suited here sometimes versus some opponents, or wouldn't even think it's a mistake or wanting to gamble in one of the smaller in buy-in tournaments. One of my $20 tournaments, right? I play 200, 300 sometimes. So I'm going to get a big stack or in gamble and have an opportunity to win a tournament and know this is probably my bottom. Fuck it. I'm never folding my bottom, especially if the guy has aggressive numbers.
See,
So
maybe
you
that's
see
the way
the
I
different
view.
pieces of the puzzle. You know what I mean?
I view poker because I only play $5 buy-ins and lower, so I'm up against people that do a lot of odd stuff.
Fair. Yeah, and then identifying just to make the most money, right, in these spots, in these situations. So, well done though. Well done. I do have to start to wrap it up. Got to get ready to head out here. But did anyone have any final thoughts, questions, or anything like that before we got out of here? I wanted to mix it up this week and bring my buddy Eugene in. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'm gonna try to do more stuff like that moving forward.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Like tough spots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that cat lives like literally 10 minutes away from me.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. We met in Vegas and we've talked and kept up, and he works really hard on his game and he thinks at a really high level. And I'm fortunate to have him as a friend, and yeah, he'll be around poker for a long time. He's got a very good mind for poker. So I appreciate him helping out in these groups.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything before we get out?
See you next week.
No, I'm back in here tonight on the stream.
Oh, yep.
Streaming tonight. But yeah, the group back next week. Eventually gonna consider some WSOP boot camp stuff as we near, I believe we're about 9 weeks, 10 weeks away, 10 weeks away from WSOP starting or something like that. So at some point we're gonna have to start really buckling down and thinking about that. There's so much opportunity. Want to have some life-changing opportunities this summer. I want someone in this group to do something big, so we'll try that. And yeah, guys, I will be back tonight and see you guys next week. Take care.
She gone.
Here you go.